Hari Om. Good evening. A very warm welcome to all of you. Please come. Let's pray to the Almighty and take His blessings. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya sahana vavatu sahano bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. O Lord, the Almighty, who has the divine names Vibhuhu, Satkarta, Sakrataha, to such a magnificent, omnipresent, omniscient Lord, together with faith, devotion, and complete surrender prapatti, we offer our humble salutations to seek your grace, your mercy, your blessings, your love, your compassion, your kindness, your strength, your forgiveness. O Lord, please grant us the divine qualities Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, only and only to understand Thy true nature. And bless us, we experience that aparoksha anubhuti of the divine nature, and at the end of our lives, we reach Thy holy feet. Om Tat Sat. Today, by God's grace and the Guru Parampara's grace, we are on our Divine Discourse number 285 on the 7th of June 2022. Shubhakrat Nama Samvatsar, Uttarayan, Grishma Rutu, Jyeshta Mas, Shukla Paksh, Ashtami, Purva Falguni Nakshatra, Vajra Yoga, Bhadrak Karane. on this auspicious day of Tuesday and the auspicious time of the evening, we all make a firm resolve in our minds. Naham karta hari karta, hari preranaya, hari prityartam. All that is happening in our lives, every situation, every incident, every circumstance, every happening, be it by a person, object, or place, is all happening at the behest of the Almighty, who has a divine plan for us, only and only to uplift our lives from this ocean of birth and death. We surrender to the Almighty's plan and accept each and every aspect in our life as His prasad and live a gracious, peaceful and helpful life. Om Tat Sat. Our humble salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. A very warm welcome to all of you once again. So, now we all are studying chapter 14, GUNA TRAYA VIBHAGA Yoga. In other words, you can call this as a chapter of human psychology. Now, if you see, whenever we have chanted Om, U and Ma, these are the three letters with which Om has been combined. Now, what does U stand for and U Ma, what does it stand for? It stands for, while you are pronouncing this Om, when you are saying Om the first time, you have to say that I am not the Sthula Sharir, I am not the Sukshma Sharir, and I am not the Karana Sharir. So what you did? You got disassociated with the Anatma. Anatma means what is not Atma. See, the whole struggle of this knowledge or the struggle of this ignorance versus knowledge is, our ignorance is about our true self. And how do we get over this ignorance is by the Shastras. And who has given us the Shastras? The Creator has given us the Shastras. Who is eligible for the Shastras? The one who have the Ishvara Krupa. Otherwise, a person may be sitting next to you, but he'll say, this is all nonsense, I don't understand. He won't be able to even listen for more than 5 minutes. So, this ignorance is driven by this knowledge. Okay, so the Anatma Bhava, what we all have, that we are the body, we are the mind, and we are the senses, we are acting in this world. So by the first Om, what it says is, you drive away that ignorance. I am not the Sthula, Sukshma and Karana Sharira. Moving on. When we chant the Om for the second time, there the Shastras tell us, you should say, I am not the person in the waking state, nor the dream state, nor the deep sleep state. Jagrata, Swapna and Sushupti Avastha, the three states what we have in our lives. I am not that. Then the third time when we chant Om, that time what Lord Krishna says is, you have to say, you are not the Sattva, nor the Rajas, nor the Tamas. So in this way, we have to come out of these three gunas also. Now, anything you want to cross over, you need to know what it is. This is a very common understanding. If you have to go somewhere, what do you ask? First thing, what do you ask? You ask, what is your address? Okay. Then after you take the address, you ask the directions. How do I come to your place? Otherwise, how can you reach anywhere? You know where to go, but you don't have the address nor you have the directions. How will you go? So exactly in the same way, if you want to cross over the three gunas, now Stula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira, we understood what are they. And we know that is Anatma. Anatma is other than Atma, which we have to cross over. We understood that. Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, also these three states we understood. And we are able to cross over. Now the Lord says, understand what these three gunas are. And He is giving us that knowledge. One is for the spiritual upliftment. Well, you need this knowledge, okay. But how does it help in the worldly life? This has got that dual effect. While you are living and after you are no more there. Which means while you are living, meaning as simple as how do you deal with people? First of all, deal with people is you yourself is the first person to whom you have to deal with. You are different from the person you are, right? So when you are different from the person you are, you have to first understand, how do I deal with myself? If I myself is in peace, then I vibrate peace all around. Then you have everybody else around you who will be peaceful. And if you are in turmoil, how can you expect peace from the surroundings? So first understand yourself, then understand others and lead a very healthy and peaceful life. As simple as we all as children, even now for that matter, when you have work with, say, as a child you had work with your father, what do? You go and ask your mom that I wanted to ask this favor from father. Mom will say, don't go now. Don't go. Meaning what? He is in an angry mood. He is in a disturbed mood. I'll tell you when to go. And then you are playing or you are doing your homework or whatever it is. Then the mom comes and tells you, okay, now go and ask whatever you wanted to ask. Meaning what? She understands the nature, the mindset of her husband, which is the father. And then she says, now you go. It is a very convenient time. And now things, whatever you have in mind, will work. So these are the three gunas. In other words, what we talk. So whenever we are interacting with people, as I gave you the simple example, in the same way, we could interact not only in your family life, but even in the business world, or in the social world, or at your place of work, wherever it is, you will be able to perform effectively. Meaning, you are not rubbing on wrong shoulders. First, you know when to rub, and you know on whose shoulders to rub. Okay? So, now what we'll do is, I'll give you a brief. Now, till last class, we have come up to verse 8. So, what we'll do is, now we'll start from verse 9. But before that, I would like to give you a brief of the entire chapter, what Lord Krishna has got in mind. And then I'll take you to 6, 7 and 8, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas once again. And we'll start from 9. Okay. Now here. So what is the thought flow? How Lord Krishna wants to give this knowledge to us? So he has divided in 3 phases. What he does is, in the first, from verse 1 to 4, we can put it in one segment, which he covers the following subjects. In verse 1, he told us about how he grabbed the attention of Arjuna. See, now he is already on the 14th chapter, meaning how much of knowledge has been loaded on Arjuna on a continuous basis. Now there is no gap as we are having. We are covering on an average 1 shloka a day. By now, 13 chapters are over. 13 chapters means almost, you can say 400 verses are over. Arjuna has been loaded with that information. Now to awaken him and create that interest, he grabs the attention. And in the second shloka, he indicates the phala. Phala is the fruit of what? The highest world. Like when you are going on a holiday, let's say, you want to go to the best place on earth because you can afford. You said, tell me the best place on earth, I want to go there. And then you'll say, in that place, which is the best place where I can stay? Because you can afford. But what if somebody cannot afford? They can't have these aspirations. Here you are going to the best place in the entire creation. He says that is the phala, the fruit of this particular knowledge. And then in the verse 3 and 4, he talks about the kshetra and the kshetragna sanyoga. How Ishvara, according to his will and ichcha, how Prakriti and Purusha, they were responsible for the creation. He gave this knowledge. Then the second topic. He slowly now, he moves to the main course. Here he says, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Right from verse 5 to 18, he talks about all these three gunas in various combinations. He layer by layer, and at some point of time he combines all the three and gives us a gist at one go. Very beautifully mentioned. So from verse 5 to 18, he talks about all these three gunas, what are their characteristics and how they bind us. So this is the second main course, you can say. Then the concluding aspect, which we can call as a dessert, the third topic. Here Arjuna puts a question. Now you are talking of we becoming a gunatita. Gunatita means cross over the gunas, you are saying. So there he gives the knowledge of a gunatita, how a gunatita is, and how you can become one gunatita. So they reply. So from verse 19 up to 27, he covers the last concluding aspect. This is on straight terms, if I have to tell you, as bullet points, these are the characteristics which you should develop in your life. And you will also become a gunatita. In other words, you become one with me. In other words, you reach the highest loka of my entire creation. So this is the overall synopsis of the chapter. Now, as we saw, we'll now understand in the previous classes, we'll take the verse 6. Now, what did verse 6 talk about? It spoke about the context of the three gunas. It said sattva is, prakashakam, it said, which is bright, goodness, nobility. Rajas, he calls it as dirt. Tamas, he calls it as darkness. And anamayam, he says this by invoking sattva, he says you put an end to sorrow because you are creating peace and serenity. And then he talks about sattva, he says it has the capacity to conquer consciousness. Now that is all what we want. This is the only area where you can think about moving to the next plane. Cross over three, I said, no? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, you cross over these three. And in what plane you have to go? To the fourth, which is known as the Turiya. If you have to go to that Turiya state, you need to conquer consciousness. It is there in everybody. But we don't know where it is, how it is, and how I can reach out to it. Like for example, you have a treasure box. You have found a treasure box, but you don't have the key. So then what is the use of treasure box? So each and every jiva has got this treasure box, but we don't have the key. And this knowledge is that key to the treasure box. So then he says, this sattva is antagonistic to sorrow. Sattva is completely against sorrow, or you can call it as free of sorrow. Meaning, sorrow in the sense means you are not jumping joy or something like that. It is a blissful understanding what you have. So this is what they say. But remember, here also you are bound by the aham bhava, because you are experiencing that happiness. You are experiencing that peace. You say, so I am happy, I am peaceful. So here what you are doing is a mistake. You have assumed yourself to be the kshetrajna, which you are not. So he says, although these are the conditions of a sattva guni person, the I factor is the binding factor. So he says, be careful. You know, first understand where you are, and then I'll tell you how to come out of it. So in sattva guna, he says, this sattva is jnana sangha, sukha sangha, meaning jnana sangha means it is associated with jnana, it is associated with sukha, and you have to get out of that. Then next he comes to verse 7, he spoke about rajas after sattva. So the main lakshan of rajas is ragatmakam. Ragatmakam means desire. Ranga means to be pleased, or to be devoted to, or to be loved. So rajyate vishayate purushaha, meaning a person who is tightly tied down to an object or a person. These are the major characteristics of a person who is in rajas. What is that? Trishna, asangha, samudbhavam, he says. So this is the source of Trishna, Asanga, Samudbhavam. How does it bind? Because you are always in action. Tatparata, meaning it binds you. Always you want to, whatever be your situation in life, how much ever you have earned in life, be it money, name, fame, whatever you have earned, what is there is that constant feeling in your mind is, I must get this, I must do this, I must achieve this. So this karma sangha action, where there is no rest. No rest meaning there is no peace. And the sad part is, this jiva, it keeps enjoying itself in this position because it doesn't know what it is doing. Always running, always working. For what? For these material and worldly aspects of life. A pathetic condition. I tell you, even before this knowledge came, if I look back at my own life, I was also that. You found so much zeal in yourself that I must achieve this, I must do that, I must get this, I must possess that. So he says, this is the rajasic aspect. And what is the result of rajasic aspect? In one line they say, along with activity, there is sorrow. Sattvic, along with knowledge, there is peace. And in rajasic, this is the state. So he says, understand. Now this is the second guna which I have created. And then he comes to the tamas aspect in verse 8. He says, this is avarana. Avarana means it is a veiling, a cover. Tamas is born from ajnana, ignorance. Because this knowledge has been veiled. It has been covered. And it dilutes all the human beings. It makes them an aviveka. Bhranti janakam. It gives that delusion, creates wrong understanding and leads to wrong thinking for everything. You talk to them sense, they'll make complete nonsense out of what you have told them. And see, this is all not something, we're not talking of any fiction story here. You whatever I'm telling you, you have experienced those kind of people in life. These are the ones, they have a complete wrong understanding. In Sattva they say, mark but don't remark, because it is backed by serenity and knowledge. In Rajas, keep on marking but no remarking. Why? There is that thirst and desire in you completely bubbling all the time. And in Tamas, no mark and no remark, because you have totally misunderstood situations and you are in delusion. So now how does these three bind you? How does it delude? This particular tamas, it is pramada, not being attentive at all. Anything which is told to you important, you have that inadvertence. You are completely non-attentive. And you have alasya. Alasya to the extent meaning whatever you have to do, you don't do that. That is the kind of alasya. You don't even want to put effort. You always postpone. Dekhenge kal karenge. Kya jaldi hai? That way. And they laugh at you. If you ask them for the second or third time, they'll get angry at you. They'll bounce back at you. That is their nature. Nidrabhi, the last one, is excessive sleeping, and they are always in a slumber mode. So tamas is ajnanam, avaranatmakam, and mohanam. Mohanam is delusion. So these are the qualities of a Rajas Guna. So now we have understood the qualities. Arjuna asks Sri Krishna, if a guna becomes prominent in me, Utkarsha what we call, what will happen? How do I understand which guna is prominent in me? Because now I understood what these three gunas are. Tell me, how do I understand? So there in verse 9, Lord Krishna, now he explains these gunas, which we are going to take in detail now. Come. I'll just post the Shlok, we'll read it and then we'll go to understand in detail. Okay. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati rajah karmani bharata jnanam avritya tu tamaha pramade sanjayatyuta. So here Lord Krishna says, when sattva is there in you, okay, you will feel happy. When this guna is there in you, you'll feel happy, you'll feel peaceful, you'll feel quiet. Even if there are sufficient reasons for you to be sad. This is the beauty of sattva guna. You have many things around you are not that great. But once you have risen from the tamasic stage, or tamas to rajas, rajas to sattva, situation around you is the same. Now this, what I'm telling you, is a no story over here. Many of us have experienced this. We all being in grahastha ashram, having a family, having so many challenges to face in daily life. I have heard from many of our sadhaks that they are feeling peaceful. They are feeling happy. And meaning what? Their next sentence is not that everything has become so pleasant and nice and things have changed for the better. No. Some say it has become worse also. But what, due to that understanding, that knowledge, there is a kind of peace. Because you know what is karma yoga. You know what is prarabdha. You know who is the creator and who is the created. All this knowledge, what you got. Now that gives an understanding. What I thought is not true. Everything is an illusion. The moment you get up from your dream, don't you smile at your dream and you smile at your own self and say, my God, how much I perspired. Let's say it's a nightmare. You perspire in that nightmare. And you are so trembled by that dream. When you get up, you said, thank God. You experienced that peace suddenly because you got to know the truth. In the same way, in a waking state, when you slowly start rising to the higher levels, all the noises, the pollution, the filth, the bad odor, everything, you have risen above that and you feel that serenity over there. So in the same way, that being peaceful, quiet, this is one of the basic factor to understand. Now you are in the mindset of sattva. And what did I say? Sattva, what we learnt was knowledge. Prominent feature, knowledge. Now, knowledge means we should not misunderstand that this knowledge is spoken of spiritual knowledge. No. Spiritual knowledge is the highest strata amongst the people where we are talking of knowledge. This is primarily people who are knowledgeable in whatever field they are doing. Be it history, geography, biology, chemistry, algebra, astronomy, astrology, whatever be the field, medicine, engineering, in that is they are working towards knowledge. Now in that sphere of knowledge, spiritual knowledge is the highest. Okay. So once Thomas Alva Edison, an example, how these people are. Whatever be the situation, they are peaceful and quiet. It so happened that he was doing his experiments and there was a blast while he was doing the experiment and his factory caught fire. So he came out running. And then the son comes. He says, Papa, what is this? This entire factory is in flames. Huge flame, and they didn't have, I think, the proper methods to immediately put it down, whatever it is. Now the son is asking his father, Thomas Alva Edison, and Thomas tells the son, go and get your mom, let her see this huge fire which we have never seen in our life. Can you imagine? He knows now it has caught fire. What can I do for it? Everything is going to be burnt down. At least let me enjoy this huge fire. So this sattva, it fastens you to peace. Fastens means it ties you to peace. You may not be able to change the exteriors because it is by prarabdha. But inside, because of the knowledge, you become peaceful. In Rajas, what happens? Even though you are happy, you got some good news, you are happy, and by that for a moment you are peaceful. But what you will do is, you will still jump into action. I cannot sit like this. Because the wanting to acquire, wanting to achieve, wanting to possess is so much. What this person, he'll see, I have got 2 days. He will not want to sit and spend with family or towards his health or towards other requirements. He will say, let me go and meet that friend of mine or that client of mine. He was talking of some interesting business proposal, and he'll jump into action. He'll call that guy. He says, I want to come and see you. You are discussing of some land which is being sold at a throwaway price. Can I come and meet you in that context? He says, come. So he runs. Now, which was not needed, this attitude is such, they can't sit peacefully. They want to acquire more and more. And tamas, even though all possibilities of knowledge are in front of them, Everything is there to learn, but that tamas, it veils the understanding and leads to wrong decisions and misapprehensions in life. They fasten to wrong decisions. As in Rajas, they fasten themselves to activity. Here these people, they get only fastened to wrong decisions. They don't listen to anybody. They always think the other person is a dud. They don't understand anything, and they think that they are the wisest on this planet. Tamahetu mahat sangena utpadhamanam api jnanam avritya. They always are towards wrong decisions. So this tamas prevents knowledge and encourages you towards wrong thinking, and naturally the result is always negative. And because of that slumberness, they also give up their own duties. So this way, sattva makes you happy even though the surroundings are very difficult. Rajas will make you engaged in selfish pursuits even though you are happy. Tamas will lead you to ignorance even though you have the best of teachers, of friends, or relatives around you. You are always in ignorance. So your mind makes your life depending upon the sattva, rajas and tamas factor present in you. This is what we need to understand. Once you know these are the gun which is there in existence, how much of each gun you have, we have to understand that. And what is the result of each and every guna, we know that. Now we have to start measuring ourselves. Where are we? And how I can upgrade myself. So these are all free upgrades. If you are in a economy class, compare tamas to an economy class, just for example. And if rajas is a business class, now sattva is going to be first class when you're traveling. So who would not want to travel in first class? So know where you are. And this is purely by your improvement in your understanding capabilities. You can slowly move up the ladder. So now, it is now explained how these qualities, they fight against each other. We are coming to that. Because all three are present. Not that we have only one in us. So these three qualities are constantly fighting against each other. And one of the qualities, they come out victoriously against the other. How one quality comes out prominently against the other. So this we learn in the 10th verse. So verse number 10. Rajastamascha Sattvam bhavati bharata. Rajas sattvam tamaschaiva. Tamas sattvam rajas tatha. So here, even though all these three qualities are present, one quality is dominant. So when sattva overpowers rajas and tamas, you are in a sattvic mode. And when rajas overpowers sattva and tamas, you are rajasic mode. So now we know what is sattva, rajas and tamas. So you are in that mode, and when tamas has overpowered sattva and rajas, you are in a tamasic mode. Now please don't forget, how did then these qualities come in us? These qualities come from the sukshma sharira of your past birth. Everybody we carry in our Sukshma Sharira and our Karana Sharira. As far as all these qualities are concerned, they are in your Sukshma Sharira, and the tendencies further deeply get deposited in the Karana Sharira. So on the death, the Sthula Sharira is burnt, buried and cremated here on this planet, but the Sukshma and the Karana Sharira, they travel back to the Creator and wait for the next body, rather a womb. What womb is going to be allotted to me? Is it going to be the womb of a human, or it's going to be of an animal, or a bird, or a fish, or an insect, or a worm? Whatever it is, the jiva goes there and it keeps waiting for the womb. So based on those qualities, what we have incorporated in our past life, now those qualities come to us in the present life and they start dominating. So that's the reason you see to a same parent or parents, you see different children have different qualities because they are all jivas who have come with their own Sukshma and Karana Sharira. So now, like they dominating means what exactly they dominate? It is like, as you know, as simple as, like you have, say, there are 3 wrestlers and they are fighting against each other. So don't you see in one particular round, one particular wrestler takes over the other, and in another round, another wrestler comes up. So whoever is more strong amongst the 3, he prominently is able to win over the other 2. Let's say in your wallet, another example, second example. In your wallet, you have 3 kinds of currency. One is a 2000 rupee note, you have a 500 rupee note, and you also have a 200 rupee note, let's say. Now when you open your wallet and you place your hand in your wallet, what kind of notes do you see? Prominently, the maximum amount of the denomination what is there, you will see them. If 2000 rupee notes are more, you will be able to see more of 2000 in that wallet, isn't it? If 200 rupee notes are more, you will be able to see more of 200 rupee notes. Not that the 500 and 2000 is absent. So depending on the amount of notes you have kept in your wallet, they become visible. So in the same way, depending on the quantum of sattva which is there in your jiva, that becomes prominently shown from time to time. And sattva, rajas and tamas, those effects are also shown. So now if we have more of, say, 500 rupees and 200 rupee notes, what we can do, which is like we have more of rajas and tamas, let's say, you can convert them into 2000 rupee notes. Which means if I have got more of rajasic, I can give up that rajasic and I can move towards sattva by incorporating the sattva related activity. As you can convert the currency and make it a higher currency, the same can happen the reverse way also. 2000 rupee note can be broken down into 4 of 500 rupee notes or 10 of 200 rupee notes. So in the same way, this constant upgradation and degradation of the gunas keep happening. This is what they are trying to explain to us. So we have to be careful now. Oh my God, if now I don't take care of, I am not, say, vigilant of this, then I may fall a prey to this particular thing. This is what they are explaining over here. So these are extremely important aspects. Keep observing yourself. Now by doing this exercise, don't you see automatically you are witnessing your own self as a sakshi? That is the highest exercise what we can do. So now in the pretext of seeing your gunas, you start becoming a witness to your own self. So this is what is now told in the 10th verse. Now, how do we know which quality is predominant in oneself as per the Adhyatma Shastra? Okay, how do we know? So now we know, yes, what these qualities are, but how can we understand this better? So here in the 11th verse, Lord Krishna explains about the sattva. When sattva is prominent, how does it portray? And when rajas is prominent, how does it portray? And when tamas is prominent, how does it portray? See, not that he has not told us earlier, but he again tells us in a different way. So that, different shades, different angles he is showing us. So that he wants us to understand. Just trying to show us in a different angle. So now let's understand, when sattva is prominent in us, how does it appear to us? Come. This is the 11th verse. So 11, 12, 13 speak of the prominence of sattva, rajas and tamas respectively. Let's see how much we can cover. Maybe 1 or 2 we can cover. Let's try to achieve whatever we can. No hurry. Okay, 11. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyad vivridham sattvamityuta. Now, when can you say that in yourself, now you have become the witness, which is prominent? So in all the doorways of your body, there is an embodiment of knowledge, effulgence, mind is alive, mind is alert, it is present in the moment, 100% attention, intensively aware, conscious and peaceful. If these, one or many of these are there, understand you are in the sattva mode. To repeat, knowledge. See, now we are all in sattva mode because we are listening to this Atma Jnana, highest knowledge. Even if you are learning physics, that is knowledge, which is sattva gun only. But amongst the knowledge, what we spoke was the highest knowledge is of the knowledge of God, Atmajnana. When this kind of a situation, or you are peaceful, you are attentive, you are conscious of what you are doing, or you are 100% in the present mode, you are neither thinking of the past nor of the future. This becomes sattva. Understand, you are in a sattva mode. Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda used to tell, one who is quiet, alert, vigilant living itself is highest sadhana, you would say. You want to do sadhana at the highest level? He just says, be quiet. Be quiet in the sense, first is stop chattering of your talk. Second, chattering of your mind. Don't unnecessarily jump from here and there, comment on this, comment on that, think of that, think of this. No, none of my business. Quieten your mind. And then be in yourself. Vigilant living. He says this is the highest sadhana. Imagine. So much of knowledge this is. This all comes by practice. Now you can't say, how can I get all that? Make an effort. You have 200 rupee notes, give them and ask for a 2000 rupee note. As simple as that. So he makes it very clear. These are what are the things which you need to have. Once you have that, then you are moving towards Sattva Guna. That's all. If you want to inculcate, you have to start practicing these. Meaning sadhana means to fight with the flow of the three gunas in your mind. Constantly these three gunas are fighting. I want to be first, I want to be first. Now here, whenever the mind is fighting towards the world, drag it from the world. What are you asking? Again and again you are only asking for material benefits, material pleasures. Come back and drive it towards the Lord. Start chanting. Start thinking of the glory of the Lord. Start placing yourself in devotion, in love towards your Lord. So if our consciousness remains at the highest consciousness level throughout the day, then you don't need any sadhana. That's what the Shastras say. Just be conscious about yourself, meaning that becomes you are observing yourself. And how does this happen? Initially, like driving a car is very difficult. You will feel that, this one mind is no use. I focus on the steering, or I focus on applying the gears, or I focus on the front looking at the road, or I focus on the accelerator or the brake. You feel you had at least half a dozen minds at that point. It is so difficult. But as you start practicing, what happens? It becomes so easy. You can sing a song and drive. You can talk to your friend or somebody close to you and you can drive. It becomes that natural. Just like cooking. If you start learning cooking, you are cutting vegetables, you are putting seasoning over there. You can't concentrate between these two. You will say, no, let me cut later. First, let me focus on the seasoning. But as you gain mastery, you put your hands on 10 things on the cooking platform. You are preparing a starter, you are preparing a main course, you are preparing a dessert. How does this happen? Just by practice. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to give a very classical example. Like on the path of spirituality, how things are difficult in the beginning. First know what to do and then you start practicing. So he gives an example of, he was on the banks of river Ganga. As we all know, he was on the other side of the Kolkata city. So to cross the river, they used to go by the ferry boats. And in those days, these ferry boats, they didn't have motors and things like that. So they had to be literally with the help of a huge stick. I think we all have seen this kind of ferry boat, where they have a stick, and initially what they do is they put all the pressure with that stick onto the ground. When all the passengers are seated and it's time to take off, they put that pressure on the with that stick onto the ground and they push the ferry. Slowly they keep pushing, and then they come into the midwaters. Till that time, that person is putting so much of effort, and the moment he enters the midwaters where there is the current, he enters that point, then you have seen him, he takes out the stick from the ferry. He takes out the stick from where he was pushing and he places it in the boat. He goes and nicely sits on the edge of the boat and he enjoys his smoke. We have all seen this. So this becomes the method. We have to know what to do and only be at it. Practice. Without practice, we won't be able to achieve anything. Initially it is tough, but after that, let there be any kind of a noise around you. Let there be praising you, let there be scolding you, let they be doing anything to you, you are in your own self, witnessing your mind and that peace and serenity within you. So, for Sattva, you need to understand and look for these characteristics in you. Okay, now, verse 12, we have Rajas. Okay, let's take verse 12. I think we can do this. Okay. Lobha pravrittitamasah, Lobha pravrittirarambah karmanamasamasprha rajaste tani jayante vivriddhe bharatarshambha. So here, what Lord Shri Krishna is telling us is, understand now what is Rajas again. In more words, he tells us, Lobha, Pravritti, Karmanam Arambaha, Ashamaha, and Spraha. These are all what he, just now in the Shlok what I read, these are all the 5 things which he mentions. See now, although most of us are in Sattva, but don't forget we all still carry a shade of Rajas. Now when I explain all these 5 major characteristics, you have to see how much of these 5 we all have independently and start working towards them. Okay, so the first one, Lobha. So, Lobha is greed, Pravritti is activity, Karmanam Arambaha is commencing of works, then Ashamaha is unrest or uneasiness always, and Spraha means desire. Now what is this Lobha? Danadi agame bahuda jayamanapi punah punaha. Meaning, it is you are not satisfied with what you have. You also want others' wealth. This is one of the in Lobha. And in the second phase of this greed is, as far as your own wealth is concerned, you will not want to share it with anybody because you yourself want to acquire more. Where is the question of sharing? So this is one Lobha, which we are stuck to what we have. Apart from you having, you want to get from others and you also don't want to share. Then Pravritti. Nityam Kurvad Rupataha. Meaning, you want to be present everywhere. How can you be present everywhere? No, I have so many invitations. See, I have an engagement invitation today, I have a wedding invitation today, and I have a cradle ceremony invitation today. You may have, but what is the point you running all around these 4 or 5 places? Meaning this pravritti, you want to be everywhere. You want to be busy. You want to create that confusion for yourself and for everybody. Because this is one of the activities. No problem. You have to tell somebody that yes, it was not possible for obvious reasons, but you yourself want to be busy. How about that? You don't want to even take an excuse because you want to be noticed. So this pravritti attitude is the second Rajas, quality of Rajas. Then Karmanam Arambaha, the third one. Even though there is no need to start a project, because there are so many projects which are incomplete. Now, this person he goes into another project. Why? That greed. That lobha is there, no? Just because of that greed. He says, I have got an opportunity which is knocking at my door. Why should I leave it? He says, no, I'm not going to leave this. Let me grab it. But you have so many things unfinished on your plate. That's okay, let's see. But we should not. This is not going to come again and again. It says just because it is available, you are going to take more than required on your plate. For example, you go to a buffet. You are paying fixed charges for the buffet. Okay? Now you see that there is so much available in a buffet. Just because it is available, you mean to say you are going to keep on eating. We have to know our capacity, isn't it? So as we stop at one point, even though it is available, because we know the consequences, if you eat more, what happens? So in the same way in life also, there are so many Rajasic people where they don't weigh the situation on hand and what the probable possibilities of taking further projects, they don't weigh. They just go on taking, and eventually you will see that they fail. That is the reason you have seen so many big companies. Why they fail is they take more than what they can digest. This quality. Karmanam arambha. They don't know where to start and where to stop. The major reason for failures in business is this. And ashamaha. With these situations, these people are always restless in their mind. They don't want their mind to rest in peace. If one thought is over, then they pick up the phone and they start blasting another person. And after that is over, they discuss on some other issue. So this way you can see, they think that, see, look, I am portraying that I am so busy. They think that they are portraying something great. My God, he is all the time busy. What busy nonsense. A restless mind. Highly tamasic, and one word for tamasic is activity and sorrow. When you know that this is the state of a Rajasic mind, we having understood these 5 words, we have to now see, now I am not in these 5. And spruha, last one, says longing. He saw an object with somebody, and then that person has that. I think I also should get that. Now what is that? Why that person is having? You will not think. Says, if that person has, I also must have. If somebody has a bungalow on a hill station, I also must have. Do you really need? That we'll see later. But first let's get a bungalow on a hill station. That kind of a guest house. No? Where is this coming? Longing, that's all. Mimetic desires, they call, where you look at somebody else and you say, I also want it. Without even knowing its advantages, disadvantages, its benefits, disbenefits, this mind only says, if he has, I also must have. And next he adds to it is, I will have a better one than that person. They go to that extent. This is all Rajasic. So, now, in the next class, we'll learn about Tamas and then much more details of how this whole thing, gunas, work in our life. And knowing this, how we can upgrade ourselves without any cost. From economy to business, business to first class. Meaning from Tamas to Rajas and Rajas to Satvik. Okay? Shri Krishna Paramastu. Now let's listen to the meaning of some divine names. Verse number 26, 240, 241 and 242. Okay. First, let's read the verse, the Shlok 26. Suprasada prasannatma Vishvadrik Vishvabhuk Vibhuhu Satkartra Satkrita Sadur Jannur Narayano Naraha. Vibhuhu, one who manifests himself in an endless variety of forms. Though essentially the infinite is one, non-dual and all-pervading, the reality, when viewed through the equipments of our mind and intellect, which is Maya, seems to have apparently become the pluralistic world. Mundokopanishad says, He is eternal and multiform. Based on this idea, we have in the Puranas the description of the Lord's incarnations and His play in the world are many and innumerable. 241. Satkarta, one who revels and adores those who are good and wise. His palace is ever lit up with His hospitality, and He Himself presides over the loving reception of the righteous. Satkaroti iti Satkarta. The Lord says, I myself, I become a servant to adore such souls. Satkritaha, one who is adored by all good people. Not only he is adored and worshipped by great men of wisdom and devotion, as the Sanat Kumaras, Narada and others, but he is also invoked and worshipped consciously by all living creatures. The Upanishad describes every experience of all living creatures as a yajna, in which the stimuli received are the oblations poured at which the inner consciousness flares up into brilliancy. To such a Lord who is Vibhuhu, Satkarta and Satkritaha, together we offer our humble salutations and seek His grace, mercy and love. Now let's chant Shri Dhanvantari Mantra 3 times. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutagalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutagalashastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutagalashastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. To Lord Dhanvantari, who is none other than the avatar of Lord Vishnu, we offer our humble salutations and prayers to seek a life full of health and vibrance. Om Tat Sat. Now, let's do the Sakshatkara Siddhi Yoga Dhyana with pearls of wisdom. All of you, please make yourself comfortable. If you need to get up and sit down again, please do that. Ensure that your body for the next about 12 minutes completely supports you without disturbing you. Keep your entire body relaxed, head, neck and spine in a straight line. Ensure your forehead, your face, your neck, your shoulders are completely relaxed. Let's take a few deep breaths. Inhale and exhale 3 times, as deep as you can. Now let's start our meditation. The first level, Antarika, Drishanavitsa Vikalpa Samadhi. Meditation with you as an onlooker, a witness to your mind, observing the thoughts coming in your mind and passing away. Carefully observe the thoughts that cross your mind. Without being judgmental, allow the thoughts to pass away. Slowly notice the reduction in the number of thoughts. Eventually you come to a state where there are no thoughts. This art of witnessing your mind, your thoughts, and your body is the first step towards liberation. the more you're able to achieve excellence in this method of witnessing. The faster you will reach your destination. Now we go to the second stage, Antarika Shabdhanuvit Savikalpa Samadhi. Using the power of a mantra, Jnana Shakti, and using the power of being in the moment, Kriya Shakti, by witnessing your breath. We see the oneness of the Jivatma and the Paramatma. So, the Paramatma in you and the Paramatma who has enveloped the entire universe is one and the same. The moment you come out of the clutches of your body and mind, you will experience this oneness. Now in this deep state of mind, let us listen to the pearls of wisdom. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. you see in existence is by the union of Kshetra and Kshetriya. Know that the Paramatma accompanies the Atma, which is present in all beings, and understand that Atma and Paramatma are imperishable in this perishable body. Paramatma is equally present in every soul. All actions are performed by Prakriti and not the Atma. All the diverse living beings are a part of one Prakriti and are born by that one Prakriti, which is created by that one Paramatma. Such Paramatma, who does not have any beginning, who does not have any material qualities, this imperishable Paramatma, although he dwells in the body, he neither acts nor he is tainted. Just like space holds everything, but does not get contaminated, same way, the soul, the Atma, although pervading in the entire body, does not get contaminated. Just as the sun illumines the whole universe, same way the Atma illumines the entire body. In this way, the one who perceives with eyes of knowledge this subtle difference between Kshetra, which is Vikari, Jada, momentary and destructible, and who understands Kshetrajna as Nitya, Chetana, Avikari and Avinashi. And also those who understand that all actions are performed by Prakriti will attain that supreme Parabrahman, Paramatma. Hari Om. That's it. Now we move to the final stage of meditation, Antarika Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where you have transcended your body, you have transcended your mind, you are firmly situated in that knowledge that there is one consciousness in this entire universe. You have become that consciousness. There is no me who is different from the Creator, Paramatma. It is Paramatma and He alone as everybody. Slowly become aware of your mind. Your breath. Your body. Become aware of your surroundings and where you are seated. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Together we offer today's Gita Jnana Yajna at the lotus feet of the Lord and seek His grace, His mercy, His blessings. Our humble salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam Namama. Om Tat Sat. Rub your palm, place them on your eyes.